Hi friends! Today we'll be talking about the latest Ashes of Creation Twitchcast, which was held today, September 27th, 2018. If you don't know, Ashes of Creation is going to be the greatest MMORPG ever to exist in the history of the world. The game will take the best aspects of all games that came before it and put them all in one place. The world of Vera. Ashes will feature the best crafting, the best combat, the most interactive story, and of course the best music of any game ever. It's going to make MMOs great again. This is Jeffrey Bard. He's the lead game designer. He's like the boss of all the game developers and a really cool guy. This is Steven Sharif. He's the big boss and the money. This is his game. He made millions online selling smoothies when he was 18, and now he's using his vast fortune to create the greatest video game ever. What? I know, right? That's internet legend stuff right there. Let's join the Twitchcast and see what awesome new info they have for us today.
Exactly. The idea behind our hybrid system is going to obviously be customizable from a traditional higher up third-person view that is seen in MMORPGs, and then to have that customizable so that more action-oriented players might be able to come in closer to the character and have more feasibility there. Question from Gigabear. Steven, I must know, are we getting growth and shrinking potions from alchemy? So, part of the questions that we are trying to answer with these types of tests in an action arena is the question of how tab will relate to action when it comes to hitboxes on a character, right? And it's entirely possible that that answer may include the adjustment of such hitboxes through alchemical means, perhaps, during runtime, or if a person wants to customize their character smaller or larger, what that impacts from a stat perspective, so that it blends well into the tab system. But for us to have that answer now really puts the cart ahead of the horse, because our horse is the alpha testing period that we're finding these answers out. That's the whole purpose for us creating this action-only arena testing phase, a whole new phase that we can really, a whole new world, a whole new phase that, that we can actually get some clarity on these specific questions.
Yeah, and it's also like we totally think that those kinds of things are a lot of fun. We'll be putting stuff along those lines in as much as we possibly can, as long as it doesn't negatively affect the gameplay, because stuff like that is just crazy fun. So.
Right. And here's, just to clarify, so you guys have a very good context understanding. I know we've said this before, but the holy grail is to find that blend of action and tab that accommodates the play style of the player to a degree. So, you have traditionally in these MMORPGs, you have some of them leaning towards more action, some of them leaning more towards tab, and some of them trying to create these hybrids, right? And the next question that kind of put me off on this was a question from Shays that said, you recently confirmed headshot hitboxes currently exist in the game. As an MMORPG player, I cannot help but be concerned that this steers the game towards a shooter. So the desire is to allow the players to customize their play style more predominantly towards action or tab. Right? Yeah.
So if you take a look at what a headshot represents, a headshot is basically a critical hit. And players who are relying on tab skills will have that critical hit chance baked into their character. They will have that fixed chance every time they use an ability or use a spell or swing a weapon. And then somebody who's kind of preferring action-based, in order to get that crit, they're not going to be relying necessarily on their stat. they're going to be relying on whether they get a headshot or not, or are able to hit that critical spot on that character. So that's kind of the direction that we're going in that way. Again, it's going to be hybridized, so there's going to be a little bit of both happening in both places. But yeah, that's the direction we're going.
Okay, Decimus asks, how will the Battle Royale game mode seen in Alpha 1 be integrated to the full version of the game? We're not sure that we will have the Battle Royale integrated into the full version of the game. You have to understand, the Battle Royale mode is intended as a testing atmosphere.
Right.
This is what is allowing us to collect hands-on data from testers with regards to action combat. It allows us to test our server balance. It allows us to test our back-end systems. It allows us to test the frame rate with the environment when players are loading it. It allows us to test our level streaming. It allows us to test mount. It allows us to iterate on art and cosmetic appearances. It allows us to implement our character creation screen. It allows us to test our castle. I mean, there's so many things that get tested. Sorry to go on, but to get tested in this mode, it doesn't have to be integrated into the MMORPG, and
it's weird because it's you got to think of it in terms of this is the MMO, but it's not the MMO, right?
Right.
Like it's the MMO. We've cut a couple sections off of it, and we're just focused on this part right now, right? And then as we go into Alpha Phase 2, that will grow and kind of like start to encompass more things. It's more of a starting point, right, rather than an endpoint or a means in and of itself.
Right.
It's a thing that is contained that allows us to test a bunch of stuff in a really focused manner. So think of it that way, less like it's its own thing.
Yes. Okay. Next question from Malgus. Hello, Intrepid. I would like to first congratulate you on hitting the milestone of reaching A1. Thank you. It is really lovely combat. Thank you, Malgus. We appreciate that. My question is in regards to node leadership for economic nodes. So far, we know it is a bidding war. So can you explain how would you stop a guild from banding together to send all their cash to certain individuals to take the leadership so it can be a bit more fair to smaller gaming communities, or if the system is going to work a little bit differently? So that's a good question. Obviously, part of how an economic node works is through the accumulation of resources, the trading of those goods and or resources, and those resources can include gold, money, currency. Part of one of the ideas on how that might work is that your transactions through, let's say, that economic node's auction house may yield account-bound currency as well as whatever currency you take. And the account-bound currency might be used as the currency with which you can bid in the economic node or use for other types of systems. So for example, let's say there were certificates required in order to craft certain types of goods at that economic node that utilized this account-bound currency. Your choices through that month would be to accumulate the account-bound currency and either benefit from it by using it at those different types of transactions with merchants that benefit you, or saving and accumulating them to bid for the position at the economic node. The idea here is, yes, to kind of try to stop guilds from potentially banding together, or let's say someone who might subvert our security and RMT gold from sellers or whatever and claim control over. We have ideas in the works for that regard, but that's going to be implemented during testing. We will see whether or not some of those systems work. Yeah, exactly. That's what works and doesn't work. That is something that is on our mind.
Okay, and that's how part 1 ends, with me going off the rails and going on a crazy rant against Jeff because we disagree on exploits. I'll just leave it at that. Join me for part 2, probably on Friday. Make sure you ring the bell so you don't miss it. Part 3 features some exclusive live combat from Alpha 1 gameplay, but I can't show that to you until after October the 4th when the NDA wears off. That's why I split this video into 3 parts. One, because it's kind of long, and also I can't show you the combat footage until next week. Thanks for watching.